I designed some STLs. I had to switch out my print head for my 3D printer, and I thought this would be a really cool design for a game, Flames of Orion. This is a free game, and I love free games. It's really fun. I've already played it. Let me show you my warband. See, they're over here somewhere. So this is my unit. So this is like a Cthulhu idol. This is a crawling hand inspired by a Mystery Science Theater 3000 movie that kind of terrified me when I was little. A spider house, and then a cauldron. After I made these, I played a game at SDG Fest, and Cauldron had a heat score of, I think, 8. And so he had a radius of 8 inches to erupt. And I almost took out a whole other unit of robots doing that, and it was a lot of fun. We're gonna go into the world of sci-fi and make a terrain board for this game. First thing I gotta do is clean up my crap. So to make a terrain board for this game, they say that you can do anything from a 4 foot by 4 foot square to a 2 foot by 2 foot square, which basically means I can do whatever I want. So I got a piece of styrofoam from some furniture we ordered. At work, I got this filing cabinet, and it came absolutely full with a bunch of chunks of terrain. The other main thing we're going to be using to kind of glue all this together is Great Stuff foam sealant. And this does have some fumes, so be safe. Typically, the way I use this is I spray it, I glue it, and then I leave with the fan on. I come back to it when it's all done fumigating. I want this to be a mech repair station. And so I have these 2 pylons. They're gonna act as like generators. This is my sci-fi box. But I have some floppy disk readers. This is a toner cartridge, some electrical boxes, some printer parts from like a home printer. This has the best cartoon theme song of any cartoon. I think this was Burger King, right? They had the best toys. Okay, so it's the next day, and overnight I was thinking about using this piece of styrofoam for all these tall structures, and this is just too flimsy of styrofoam to just have this stuff anchored down to it. For 10 bucks, I went to Home Depot and got this 2 foot by 2 foot square, and it's gonna be so much more stable. I won't have to worry about it. We're just gonna swap this out real quick. My idea behind have these like inset is, you know, at like Jiffy Lube, when you go, they'll let go underneath the track. This is like airships land on these and then they can repair underneath it. I have these canisters from work. These are printer cartridges. I would recommend that you don't go to an industrial place to dig out of the trash can for stuff like this, because you don't know how to properly use this type of thing. I know that if I cut into this, toner is going to come out and make a huge mess. So I would recommend grab and use whatever you have from your job. You know how that stuff could be used, or you know people who know how to use it. Anything here you see neon green are stuff that I've 3D printed. Some of it I've designed myself, and others I've grabbed off of Colts 3D or Thingiverse. I like to use stuff that's free, so anything I've designed I'll have for free over on my Patreon, in the link in the description. Some of this stuff I found for 40K that I scaled down 50%. Other stuff was designed specifically for 5mm scale, like Wargames. This was a Minas Morgul bridge. I'm using like floppy disk parts and a lot of things that probably doesn't look great at this scale, but with all of it together, I don't think it's gonna matter too much. Ideally, this is a piece of terrain I can use for Necromunda, maybe. Basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to connect pieces and add a lot of variation in levels and make this an interesting board to play on. And I had a lot of fun consolidating all my junk that I haven't seen in a long time into one piece that I can play with again. A lot of this stuff I had before I even started the hobby. I thought one day I will use this for something, and I never did. These were some Imperial speeders I made for like Star Wars 5e games that I played with like twice. And so it was really cool to kind of repurpose these for something different. In the really early stages of a board, it's really fun to just block out sections. I don't really worry about how this stuff connects at this point. I'm just kind of making it connect the dots, and then I can draw the lines connecting everything later. I've been 3D printing quite a bit of stuff for this build the past couple weeks, and it's a really good feeling to finally get to using these bits. And I'm not using them the way they're intended. I'm using them kind of as a kit bash, like greebly kit. And so maybe this isn't the conventional way of using these types of things, like this is a hanger door, but I'm just kind of using it as a fuser or whatever. And this part of the build is going to be a mech repair station. So I'm just having a lot of mechanical aspects. These little platforms are going to be places the mechs can like dock and then get repaired at. I've been so far away from the sci-fi genre that until I started putting in these greeblies, I was really questioning everything, and I didn't really feel confident that any of this was going to look good. But as soon as I put in these really like detailed 3D printed elements, that's when it really started coming together, and I started getting my confidence back a bit. It's always a really good reminder for me that you got to walk before you run, and this process was a big step to that, especially because I'm using some like found bits here. It like until you get the fine details in there, you really start questioning your own sanity just a little bit, but eventually you'll get there. You just gotta work past that ugly stage, and the ugly stage was strong with this one for sure. I got this Game Boy sent to me by my twin brother, and he repaired it temporarily, but unfortunately it broke again. So I finally get to find a way to play with it. So thanks for sending this to me. When I finally got this element into place, this is where I really got the confidence to kind of see the potential of how fun I could have with this once I kind of let loose. It's such a recognizable silhouette, and every time I looked at it, I couldn't help but smile. I can't begin to say how useful it was to have this brick to clamp things down while things were cooling. It was like having a third hand, and I could just kind of wedge it in somewhere, and it held it in place while it cooled down. I found some buildings on eBay that were relatively cheap, and I went ahead and purchased them. I'm gonna switch over to kitbashing some miniatures because I feel like if I do any more without those buildings, I'm gonna be setting myself up to fail. I went to Dollar Tree and I got a bunch of miniatures. These Minecraft miniatures I've been trying to track down for a while. When I first pitched this idea to my son to play, I was talking about how they like explode and stuff, and he was like, oh, like creepers. I feel like the blocky shapes kind of lend themselves to making some like pretty cool like robots already. And the dollar store has like these action figures that have some pretty good greeblies on them that I feel like we can make these look pretty epic. Or kit bash, and at this point I feel like you could kind of see where it was headed, and if you want to do it this way, you totally can. I also use some orc kits to kind of maximize the loadout a bit, but while this could totally work, I didn't really like it aesthetically. So I went on Colts 3D, and Steve from South of Heaven posted some STLs that you can find, and it's kind of a pay what you want thing, so you can help support them make new stuff. And I'm just gonna kind of swap over to this because I think it'll match my other ones just a little bit better. This game is just really a nice change of pace. It's really fun consolidating all my junk in one spot, and it's looking really cool. It kind of makes me want to dive into Necromunda 2, but I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole. Next week, I'm going to finish up this board, and we're going to finish painting this warband. It's looking really cool though. Thank you again to Scented Realms for supporting the channel. I ran into Scented Realms at a coffee shop my wife worked at, showed them what I was doing, and they wanted to support the channel. So I really appreciate them supporting a local artist. And if you like companies who do that, feel free to go check them out on, they have a really unique product. So yeah, until then, I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you check out the Patreon. It's only $2 a month to help the channel. I mean, there's no pressure. There's a bunch of free STLs, mostly for Mordheim, but I also did Trench Crusade and all that stuff, and that